prepared to say, unfortunately, Sheets won't be with us. He popped right in. There he is.
Yep.
So we got kind of a, as we predicted, as you predicted, 11 gamer, a little bit of a mess with all this stuff. I'm trying to adjust to it right now. I did update my core, and it's interesting that without guys like LaMelo, it's not like anybody feels like a must play, and it also does worry you about the game staying close a little bit. But I mean, starting it off, I'm going to be playing mostly Brunson in my lineups. I still worry about the blowout a little bit, but I think I'm just going to suck it up and play him in most of my lineups. And I'm going to play one of Harder Grimes in most of my lineups as of right now. I don't like the Grimes thing as much as I like the value in Memphis, but I'm using it in addition to that. And then I'm going to have 3 Memphis guys in most of my builds. Sometimes I'll only have 2. They will have a 9th body, it looks like, available, even though how much he'll play or if he plays. If Vince Williams is out, it'll be at least 3 for sure from Memphis. But I do think that 3 is the sweet spot for me right now. But I think anywhere from 2 to 5 is certainly reasonable. So how are you looking at these things?
Yeah, well, I have to adjust for the Charlotte thing. I didn't update. I was going to update them a little later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess the first question I have regarding Memphis is, does it matter whether any of these guys start or not? If so, who does it matter the most for? Like, what is your take on who, which of these guys is most at risk?
Well, so I think there's genuinely a chance that even if Williams plays, that he's just going to be playing to have a body available. That might be the case. So I'd like to know the starting lineups, but I honestly think we know probably what's going to happen if Williams is in. Gilliard, Williams, Roddy, Aldama, and Jackson makes a lot of sense. I'm totally just as fine with playing GG Jackson off the bench. I'm not going to play Tillman much, but neither will anyone else. That could be a way to get different, I guess. And I like Scottie Pippen Jr. a little bit better than I like Gilliard, and I'm assuming he's not going to start. So I don't think it matters based on the number of bodies they have. If it goes down to 8, even if it's at 9, I don't know if they'll let this guy Matt Hurt play much anyway, who they apparently are going to have available. So it's a few enough guys. It's going to be condensed enough to where I think you just want to try to be overweight. Overweight. I think you want to try and play at least 3 of them. And I don't think it matters that much who starts, who doesn't. But obviously the Vince Williams news later is a big piece of news.
And there's no, and you have no problem playing these guys with each other and stuff like that.
No, not really. Yeah, I guess if you wanted to make a case that GG Jackson and Aldama maybe make less sense, but it's kind of reaching, and it's because there's so many ways they could end up, playing most of the night. And right now you just got all these guys playing 30 minutes. The only one who's projected to play less than anything less than 29 minutes is Scottie Pippen Jr. And I'm willing to gamble on that one because the last time we saw this, he played basically the same amount of minutes as Gilliard did. I think it was like within 2 minutes or something. Yeah, maybe it was in 3 or 4, but so that's, I don't know. That's and you got K9 in here asking to rank the value on DraftKings. I think it's Roddy, Gilliard, and Jackson are the chalk ones that feel like I would play because the minutes are so secure. But I like the Scottie Pippen to get just a little bit different. You're still get a little bit lower ownership than Gilliard, and it's 100 cheaper if it matters to some of your lineups. So that's the way I would rank the value is Roddy, Jackson, Gilliard, or Pippen, then Aldama for me. And then if you want to make a game stack, if you can find something you want to play in Sacramento, I would try to use Jaren Jackson more where I was playing 4 and maybe getting a little stack with maybe forcing in a Keegan Murray play on the other side with upside. De'Aaron Fox has been all over the map, but he would be another one. And then Sabonis, of course. I don't really love the run backs as much, so I'm mostly sticking to 3 guys because I'd rather play. If I play 4, I'd like to get a run back.
How are you ranking these spend ups? Now you already mentioned Brunson. You liked him a lot. What about Wembyana versus like these versus like the Luka, Giannis, Jokic tier?
So I have Brunson and Wemby as 1 and 2. 1 for Brunson, 2 for Wemby. 3, I have Luka, but I think you now have other options to build a little differently if you want to with no Porzingis. that I think both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is a tremendous play at 9,200. So I'm considering in my big buy-in whether or not I want to fade Luka, play Tatum, and balance out a little bit more. But there is value that I think is good enough to where you don't have to do that. So I'm sort of running into that issue right now myself.
And regarding some of these Brooklyn guys that we talked about earlier, they just kind of dropped off the priority list. I mean, you didn't even have them as much of priorities. You know what I mean? Anyway,
I just think it's very speculative. Like Ben Simmons' numbers have gone up through the day projection wise. But when he was projected to play 12 minutes, I thought that was ridiculous. And now they've got him up to 17. I think there's a chance Ben Simmons plays like 25 minutes. So the fact that they were showing up is partly because they're cheap, but also because Dorian Finney-Smith is out. But then you're just filling that place in with Ben Simmons. So you're not really gaining what it seems like you might be gaining, although it is a great matchup. So I'm a little lower. I do have some Cam Thomas. I understand the reason for Claxton. It's the right matchup and everything. I just didn't end up getting there with my builds. Dinwiddie, Cam, I think I have no issue with any of them. I just think that I don't need to play a guessing game on this kind of a slate as much. Or at least it feels like you don't have to. I do need to de-chalkify my lineups a little bit. So maybe I have to do something. But right now I'm not getting to as much Brooklyn because it feels like everybody is sort of taking a shot because they're going to play 10 or 11 guys, and Ben Simmons, we have no idea what kind of role he's going to play. So I'm a little bit wondering about that.
And getting to the Knicks, back to the Knicks a little bit. You know, we talked about Hart, earlier. And also DiVincenzo was kind of showing up a little bit also. But I guess with the Memphis stuff, these guys once again are probably fading away a little bit, I guess.
I think Hart's still going to be pretty popular, and I like Hart for what it's worth. If I was anybody out there, I'd bet the over on every Josh Hart rebounding prop. I'm sure that there's no way they've got him for double-digit rebounds, and I think he's gonna have the most. That's my bold prediction. He'll have the most rebounds on the Knicks tonight.
Well, we're going to take a look at that in a second.
Oh,
that's something. I mean,
this guy's a monster rebound. It's funny, we talk about Anunoby. Anunoby just doesn't rebound. You know what I mean? Like Anunoby hasn't had double-digit rebounds in 2 years. Josh Hart, like every time anybody's out, it's like he's got somewhere between 9 and 15 rebounds. Like he's just such a tremendous rebounder.
Well, let's take a look at that. That's something to do. Let me pull that up.
Okay.
We'll check out the Josh Hart rebounding prop. Let's log in. Let's see. What are you expecting to see before I even pull it up?
I would bet they put it at 7.5, which feels way too low to me. But I think it should be like 9.5.
All right, we are getting. You can get it's 7.5. But you got it's a big, so it's 7.5 minus 150.
7.5 minus 150. Wish you could hike it up to 9.5 or 8.5.
I wonder if you could do that. You could probably do that. Yeah, all rebounds. You could definitely do that.
Yeah, I wonder what that would be.
Rebounds. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
So you could get. Well, you can get over 8.5 for plus 115.
Okay, I kind of like that.
You like that better?
I mean, he's had 9 or more in 3 of his last 5, and that's with Randall.
All right, we're in.
I like it. I'm telling you, he's going to end up with double-digit rebounds tonight. You can mark it down who said it or whatever. He's going to end up with 10 plus.
Well, it's in. We're in.
Yeah.
We're in.
So, all right, I like it.
All right, so let me. I just did the projections again. Let me see what they look like now with the Charlottes. If that really changed too much, I'm hoping it didn't.
Yeah, the one that I think is the play that you'd spend up on possibly is Bridges. I think some people will chase PJ Washington. Maybe they won't chase him, but I don't know if anybody noticed the other night, but like in this same situation, he had 57 fantasy points, but he also made 7 of 9 threes and was 17 of 22 from the floor, which I don't think you can count on again. But PJ Washington and Martin and Bridges would be the 3 that I expect to show up.
All right, so let me push back
Okay,
against
sorry.
not push back against you, but I'm going to push back against a play here. Has Quentin Grimes like all of a sudden become like better in the last like couple of days or something?
It feels fishy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that the play feels fishy. I'm kind of confused by why the projection is high enough. He's been over 20 his last 2 games. Okay, cool. I don't know that it's just this guarantee that he's going to get so much extra run. It seems like
my dog is going crazy. I gotta let her.
Okay, let me just take a quick look at this thing because we've got Quentin Grimes at 26 minutes. But like even if you took his average, I don't think he should be at 23 fantasy points in 26 minutes. It feels too ambitious the way he's being projected to me.
It does.
But I'm like okay with it. I just think it's a little fishy. It's his point per minute because the minutes they haven't raised him that much, but they've got his projection being so much higher. I'm a fan of Quentin Grimes as a player. I've seen him have big games before, but it does feel as a chalky play that maybe that's one that you could try to fade. I didn't put him as one of my core plays. He isn't my big.
Did you know that Mike Conley is out, or is he out, or?
I didn't get that piece of news, which is really going to be pretty irrelevant to me probably on this slate.
No, I saw it in my Saber Sim thing. It says the following guy you have is out or something.
Oh yeah, Mike Conley is out. So I guess that. So we haven't updated everything yet. I don't think I'm going to like anybody. I think Naz Reid is a tournament play, as I always mention, and some Anthony Edwards, sure. But I don't think it's going to do enough to move the mark for me. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is now 4,500. I'm sure some people will try to do that. It feels a lot like the Quentin Grimes play, but he's 800 more. So I'm not reacting to that much unless I notice something change in the projections. And right now, it really hasn't changed much of anybody's. All right. So Cam the Man is asking me a question here. Is Luka a priority, or are you going more 8 and 9K guys? So my main builds right now have Luka, Wemby, and Brunson.
Really?
I feel like it's a little too chalky because you kind of are narrowing what you can do the rest of the way. And the thing is, it's not a good matchup for Luka, but it's just so like, I mean, we saw him have a horrible shooting night the other night and he put up 75. Like, I just don't know how he doesn't get there if this game is close.
This always does.
It always does, right? And the only time he doesn't is when there's a blowout of some sort.
Right.
Yeah. So I like the play. I think Luka's still way too cheap. I mean, he's still, even with all this value, he's like the 7th best projected point per dollar play on the slate.
Yeah, this is what I'm getting to. I'm getting like not as much Brunson though. I'm getting Wembanyama, Luka, and then all these Memphis idiots.
Yeah. Pablo is asking, same price, FanDuel, small forward, Whitmore or Nickeil Alexander-Walker. My answer would be neither.
Yeah, probably neither.
But I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker, if you had to pick one, I guess. I like the upside of Whitmore in general, but Nickeil Alexander-Walker should be able to play plenty of minutes in a good environment. So I guess I would say Walker.
A couple of things to note, again, as far as timing goes. Unfortunately, you are going to have to make these Knicks decisions quick. I mean, before the first game, that's 7 o'clock. And then the Memphis is not until still 8.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's really nothing to do with Phoenix, Miami. The Brooklyn thing stuff 7:30 if you want to do that. So, yeah, you are going to have to make some stands like before Vince Williams news comes out if that's going to be a deal breaker for you.
Yeah. But and then another question here getting asked, Nick Richards or Aldama. I did not see any, like, I like Nick Richards just fine as a play, like in general. I don't really understand, like, he's not getting a boost with it's just a common thinking that I think that people think he would get a boost without LaMelo. And he really doesn't. Like, I know he had a huge game the other night, but again, he made absolutely everything, got every rebound, and it was against Utah. Against the Knicks here, I'm not sure that I'm not getting to Nick Richards. So I'm totally good with it. He's been completely productive for his price. I like him fine as a player, but it's a really bad matchup even without it's just mostly going to be Harden. These guys are good defensively on the inside even without Randall. So I'm not getting to Richards, but I certainly understand it as a pivot off of Aldama. So I don't mind it either way. let's see what else we got. Yeah, I'm a little nervous with that being my core because the other core, the natural one, I think would be Tatum, Brunson, and Wembanyama. I think that feels like a little, that way you don't have to play Quentin Grimes. You can play this other value from Memphis and not have to worry about the Quentin Grimes stuff. So that's what you kind of have to wonder. Like, do I want to play Tatum and Aldama? Or do I want to play, what's his name, Grimes and Luka or something like that? You know what I mean? Not exactly that, but something along those lines. I don't think Tatum's going to be low owned for anybody that's watching. Like, don't believe any of the ownership projections right now. I think my bet is that Tatum is like 20 to 25% owned today.
Tatum?
Yeah, he's got a 50+ point projection at 9,200. It's going to be really hard not to see him coming.
Yeah, so this Memphis thing, they really might only have 8 players, right? I mean,
yeah, it's possible. And I mean, we've seen them before when they've had only 8 guys available. That they said that 2 of them they just said, okay, well, you're not actually playing. you're just here.
Right.
What am I missing? Oh, it's the Rockets. I did post my bets of the day for the Discord there. I need to get back on the right track. I had I've crushed it in the NFL this playoffs, but yesterday was not my day. Gilliard or Pippen, as Marquet is asking. The right answer for safety is Gilliard. I like the Pippen play at lower ownership, and I think there's more upside. Are you running
play them both, I guess.
But I wouldn't play them together. No. I don't know if they play 1 minute without each other.
Okay.
So I think there's a chance like one of them plays 30 and one of them plays 18.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing that I worry about a little bit. Maybe they'll play a few. Actually, you know what? Let me take that back. Tonight, of all nights, they probably will play some together just because they
don't care who's in the game. They're just going to throw, whatever guy. They just keep shuffling guys. It's like an AAU game, I'm telling you.
But that's exactly my thinking why I like the Pippen play better than Gilliard, because he's a higher usage guy, and he's a guy who, like, we kind of know what there is with Gilliard. There's been some stuff with Scottie Pippen that he's shown some flashes.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. But definitely more volatility with this guy. Actually, Scottie Pippen's projection has disappeared. I don't even know what just happened. Is that right? Just too many other guys projecting well, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're only projected 3 points different, and you're getting the higher upside guy at half the ownership.
Right.
That's probably the better thing. It's a good question from K9 Sheets. I'm gonna let you take this one. Jalen Green or Cam Thomas for your last spot on FanDuel?
They're very similar to me, but Thomas is probably going to be higher owned, right?
It's a good question. I think all things being equal, I probably would go Jalen Green, but I think it's really close between the two.
What are they, small forwards?
I'm guessing they're playing shooting guard on FanDuel.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm doing my builds right now. I'll give you my answer. I mean, I'll give you who I'm getting. I'm getting. What's the price?
I'm going to guess it's somewhere in the 6Ks. I don't.
I like DiVincenzo at 58. I like Hart at 56. I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like those guys better as well, like a little bit.
I don't know better. I just happen to have like them.
Yeah. Just trying to see if Jalen Green.
Yeah, I'm not getting to. I mean, I have to say, really either of those guys that you just mentioned.
I love what BMAC said here. He said Thomas is like a toxic relationship. I would go. It's so true. If you play Cam Thomas, but that's sort of what I love about him. Like for DFS, you literally he might get benched in 12 minutes, and he also might score 60 fantasy points and 40 real life points. But Jalen Green has a little bit of a similar risk. Until recently, they've really given him the consistent minutes. I like the Green play a little bit better, I guess. They're very close though.
Yeah,
you look at both of them, they're just crushing this price.
I mean, I know you don't usually. Oh, I am getting some Cam Thomas. Sorry, so I'm actually getting in FanDuel in my MME builds.
Yeah,
I'm getting 33% Cam Thomas, and who's the guy who's comparing him to?
It was Green.
I'm not getting any of Jalen. No, I'm getting some of him. I'm getting nothing. I mean 6%.
Yeah. It's literally you're talking almost about the same player. It feels like. I think there's more volatility with Cam Thomas, and I think he's going to be more popular. So I would say the other one. But
that's a good point.
Yeah. All right, and Vince Williams, as Mark kindly pointed out here, Vince Williams is the word out there is people think that it's more like doubtful than questionable, which is why they announced the other guy was coming out possibly, which is going to just make it more and more Memphis. I have a feeling by the time that game goes, most people are going to end up with 4 of them.
I think so.
Yeah. So what do you think, Sheets, in a big buy-in? Do you think I'm getting – look, I'm obviously – the value is going to be pretty predictable who I'm playing. But – and I'm 100 off of having the exact lineup because there's a guy who I love tonight that I've heard no one talk about all day. It's Koulibaly. I think he's a spectacular play. First of all, he was a former teammate and Frenchman, first-round pick. He was the sixth overall pick this year, or sixth overall traded. And he and Wemby are like really good friends, and they were teammates and everything. Doesn't mean you have to just buy in the narrative. What I do like, though, like separate from any narrative, is this guy's playing minutes now. Like he played 31 minutes last game, 28 before that, only 20 the game before that. I think it was a blowout, though. 31 the game before that. He can do some things, and it's a good pace game. And the fact that he's got his buddy on the other side, and I don't know, I got a feeling that this might be a good Koulibaly night. But all these other value things popping up have made it really hard to play him between the Memphis stuff and I really wanted to. I have Royce O'Neal as a placeholder in my lineup right now.
That's not good.
I'm going to play him instead. This is pretty funny. You got people making this. You guys are both right, Dwayne and BMAC, because they're both like that bad relationship. Like you don't know what you're going to get from them on a given day, but they both have tremendous upside, obviously. All right.
So Minnesota, let me see if anybody got upgraded here. Not really. Just from the Conley stuff.
I'm surprised that like I don't love the Nikhil Alexander Walker play, but I thought he would be like a little more popular.
Because he always is. I mean,
yeah, usually we're playing him at 7.
Yeah, but they got all those Memphis guys. I mean,
yeah, and he's projected. I think he's accurately projected for once at like 21 fantasy points. It's good. Yeah. I do think if you're getting creative, though, Naz Reid would be the home run hitting play there.
Yeah.
If Williams is out, that only leaves Conchar. No, Conchar's not in. Conchar's not. OG is ruled out? What is happening?
Really?
That's what BMAC says, and he's probably right about this stuff. Usually is.
All right.
BMAC, it's crazy.
We'll get that. Hold on.
Dwayne, usually historically that would have been a very good thing for you to think like me in NBA DFS. Right now, these days, this new year, just 2024 so far, has not been my dominant NBA time. So hopefully we stay thinking the same and I start winning again. So OG being out, okay. So Josh Hart, even better. Obviously Grimes is going to look even better. DiVincenzo is more of a thing.
Yeah, OG in fact out.
Miles
McGee. Dude, how good am I for getting in that Hart over rebounds?
Yeah, I think that's another boost to the Hart rebounds. Yeah, why not? That's awesome.
I probably got good value. I'm telling you, I bet it goes up.
Yeah, my buddy bet on OG to get over 10 rebounds tonight, and I wrote him. I said, he hasn't had that in like 2 years, and I understand it's a better situation. He's like, yeah, I know. That's why I got 9-1 on it, but I guess it'll just be canceled now.
So Hart, is Precious becoming into play now?
I mean, like, just how far do you want to go with it? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Well, it just feels like ridiculous. Like at some point, I mean, not ridiculous, but like, how many guys can we play from the Knicks when we have the Memphis stuff later? I guess the reason I don't know the answer is I guess my best way of putting it. I'm confused at what to do about this. I'm also like, with OG out, I think that there's a reasonable chance that Precious starts.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that one. I'm gonna have to let's see how the projections update a little bit, and let's see if we can get a starting lineup before we make our final decisions on that one. But I would go back to your playing. I already was playing at least 2 Knicks, but I just feel better about having at least 2.
Well, when do you think that would be nice if they release starters in a?
Yeah, and people saying DiVincenzo was going to start anyway. DiVincenzo was going to start alongside Anunoby.
What about a guy that you brought up earlier when we were talking about the Knicks? Maybe a sort of low-owned McBride, maybe?
Yeah, I think that you're going to get him low-owned, and I actually like that tournament play. Like, he's going to be, like, unowned. You could play him, and you could play him instead of Grimes, and you could also play him with one of the cheapos for Memphis to go for the ultimate value. I don't think I'd play him over the Memphis guys, but I definitely would play him in addition. That's possible, B-Mac. We'll see. They've been resistant to start Grimes for some reason, but we'll see. Tonight, maybe it is Grimes. Most likely you don't think it would be Achua, but it wouldn't shock me. Malachi Flynn is not going to get many minutes. I'm just looking at McBride. I think McBride I'm starting to pique my interest a little bit more. But there was all the talk about how it's going to be a blowout now because there's no LaMelo. This game is starting to feel like a stackable game, which is scary because Memphis you got later on. I could do it like you did the other night, Cheese. I looked at you were up there for a while in that 888 on Friday. Remember you had like it was all players from 2 games, which is I didn't even know you were allowed to do anymore on DraftKings.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, that's crazy. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah.
Brunson, Grimes, DiVincenzo. Yeah, we'll see. I think McBride is very sneaky, and who would I not play him? I don't think it's ideal to play he and Grimes together if you're going to play him. Say that. What I don't understand what Jimmy's point is here. Like, it doesn't matter if there's 8 players. Like, you don't worry about. If you're playing Scottie Pippen when they had 12 guys available, it's very different than playing them with 8 guys. Yeah, you don't have to play him. You can just play Gilliard. That's totally fine too.
Well, I wonder what the Knicks are going to look like here. I bet you they don't even update projections till we know who's starting. How about that?
I hope they do, but you might be right. Yeah, it looks like Grimes' projection went up a little bit. Yeah, Brunson went up to now. I got him at almost 52 instead of 49. Hart's at 30, as he already was basically. Oh my God! So New York, Charlotte is your game stack with Memphis on the side, I guess. Oh my God!
Memphis on the side.
It seems like that's going to happen. All right, guys, please click the like button. I'm going to be out of here in a couple minutes because I do need to figure out what I'm doing and let you guys know in the premium Discord about everything that I do, so you know what not to do. No, I'm just kidding. Vince Williams is out. So
all right, and there it is.
3 is the minimum, I think, from Memphis now for me.
And there you have it.
Yeah.
What were we saying about having guys from 2 games?
Yeah, this could be it.
Knicks and Memphis. That's it.
Knicks and Memphis, and maybe a little Luka or something.
And Luka and Giannis. That's like.
But Jimmy, what you're saying though is true about Gilliard. You can't look at games like this. People have got to stop game log watching the NBA because when you have a full team and then you have 5 guys missing, it's a totally different situation. And by the way, Gilliard was getting less minutes than Pippen was. So Gilliard played 5 minutes in the last game. Pippen played 17. So, but they have to play somebody. They absolutely just have to play. That's simple as that. So, okay, I'm gonna guess. Yeah, I think you got to get at least. I think it's got to be 3 for me. I don't know how many minutes they can give this other guy. I've got to look into that.
Who, Memphis or Knicks?
Memphis. Oh boy. Oh, I don't think Scottie definitely starts now. I would hold out off on that. I actually don't think Scottie and Pippen will start. It's possible. I think it's more likely to be Jackson. But it's possible that.
So they have 8 guys plus the Heath, or 7 guys plus the Heath.
7 guys plus the Hurt.
Yeah. Is that guy in the player pool?
No.
Okay.
In fact, I'll be completely honest. I've never heard his name until today in my life.
All right, there it is.
It's pretty rare, but that happens.
Yep.
Boy. Okay, so
to prepare, right? We want Knicks starters, and that starts at 7 o'clock, right?
yeah,
Hopefully that comes up somewhat soon.
yeah,
I don't think I can play anybody from LAC Cleveland. I mean, you could play Donovan Mitchell, I guess.
yeah.
And if you can get a handle on who you're playing from the Knicks, then you could breathe for a minute at least. But you need to know the starters. You need to know. I mean, if Precious is starting, what is this price? 4,300.
52.
Well, all right, that's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not like an automatic click, especially when you have the Memphis forwards. Like, how you playing him over Aldama? I don't know.
Right.
Dwayne, what I got to say, I couldn't disagree more with that comment. If you're playing Naj, you got to run him with Edwards. There's absolutely no correlation between the two players in the same team. That's totally wrong. Couldn't be more backwards, in my opinion. I would make sure I don't play those two guys together because of all the other forward stuff. So if you are going to play, there's no way. There's no way if I played Naz, I'd play Edwards in the same lineup. There's no way if I played Edwards, I'd play Naz in the same lineup. Just there's no reason to it with all the other value.
So who just got ruled out? So Anunoby got ruled out, and Vince Williams got ruled out. Okay.
Yeah. So Memphis is going to look even better, and the Knicks are going to look even better. It's basically it. I do think I have to run in a minute, partly just because I have to use the restroom really quick, and then I've got to finish my builds.
I'm gonna get out of here as well.
Okay, guys, I'll be in the Discord. Please click the like button on the way out. We appreciate all the support lately, and let's get some wins tonight. Let's get some screenshots.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Good luck.